Good morning or good afternoon to everyone today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm thrilled to have the team from Web Connect on the call, and I do apologize we're starting a couple minutes late because I get talking to these guys and we just start catching up. But today is the conversations and lessons you wish your team remembered. So I, of course, am glad to have them here. We have just this webinar, one more webinar left before we kick off our Connect conference, the virtual offering. Or what I've been calling is the show must go on. So this is a great way to start to round out our regular webinars. But as always, I like to take a few moments to do some housekeeping items, especially thanking our officers, and that's Sam, Tim, Mike, Eric, and Ted. I can't speak enough for the volunteerism that is demonstrated by this board. Especially right now, having to change the conference from our traditional offering over into a virtual platform. It has been a learning curve for all of us and a lot of phone calls and a lot of testing. We are very close to launching our Connect website, which you should see early next week. So keep an eye out for more information about that. But also we're continuing to plan forward into Connect 2021, 2022, and we're actually booked out to 2025 presently. And top of a lot of other initiatives that maybe people don't see that we're doing on the user group. So a big thank you to them. I love Connect because it gives everyone the opportunity to thank these gentlemen in person. Since we don't have that opportunity this year, I do strongly encourage either posting on the forum and sending them a message there or sending them an email at your convenience. They can always be reached at officers@p21ww.org. And as I said, the show must go on, our virtual conference, Connect 2020. What's fantastic about the conference, although we're going to miss seeing everyone in person, it's probably one of my favorite times of year to get to see everyone and connect with them and network again. But we are offering the entire conference complimentary to our membership. So if you are employed with a member company, you are automatically able to attend as many sessions as you want, either live or as the recorded sessions. As I said, that will be up on the user group forum, more information on how to register for the sessions and how to connect to that website. If you go to the user group forum right now, you'll see there's two pinned threads in the general discussion area. One is a virtual conference FAQs and one is just an update. Either one of those links will take you to the document with the master list of sessions that you can sign up for right now. And almost all of these sessions will be recorded. There are a handful that won't. We're also testing out some roundtables that will not be recorded, but the ones that will not be recorded, you can clearly see that that's noted in the information. So again, here's just a screenshot of that message, and you'll see at the bottom more information on how to sign up. All of our webinars, including this one, are recorded as well. These will be kept where they normally are, which is in the webinar subforum of the user group forum. Clicking on that subforum, you can look for any one of the threads of the announcements of the webinars that are being held. About the third message in that thread is where we post the MP4 recording once it's available. It does take 24 hours at times to get that available, so please be patient. And then if we have the slides, of course, we post that there too. If you want to see the webinars that are coming up, this calendar area that we're talking about here, this will not feature our Connect sessions. There's just too many to fit on that calendar, but our regular webinars are on that calendar. You can access the calendar by going to the hamburger icon on the top right-hand corner of the screen, and that is a bird's eye view of all the webinars coming up. Now, I'm not worried about this today, but I know that the team at Web Connect will highlight it if it's an issue. But with any of our recorded sessions, to please remember that use your Play database before going live, especially when we're talking about SQL statements or changes to your database. Make sure that you're talking to the necessary IT professionals, both within your organization, on the user group forum, or reaching out to Epicor directly if you have any questions. If there's anything that we talk about on any of these webinars that feels slightly out of your normal responsibilities, you may want to just double check with other people that you work with to make sure that you should be making those changes. As with any of our forum posts, especially when we're getting into anything with SQL, a reminder, of course, to please talk to the original poster of the message thread for any gotchas that you should be keeping an eye out for that could be different. I did have one person mention that they're having trouble hearing. I'm assuming that everyone can hear me okay. Doug, can you confirm that, please?
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
Great, thank you. And of course, our last slide is my contact information. I will say that I'm a little hard to reach right now by telephone just as we get ready for the Connect conference, but please email me your questions at your convenience. I'm here for any questions you have regarding your membership, the user group forum, regarding Profit 21, any of the webinars. If you have a question, I'm a great first person to reach out to. I don't always know the answers, but I definitely can get you in touch with someone that does. So I'm going to pass screen control over, and while I do, I want to remind everyone about how to ask questions today because there's a couple of great ways to do so. First of all, there's the question feature here in GoToWebinar, which is fantastic. So please put your questions in as you think about them, and that way we know how much time to leave at the end of the presentation. If you're connected by telephone and you want to ask your question live, you can raise your hand and we'll unmute you. We ask that you only do that if you're connected using your telephone. If you're connected just using the mic and speakers on your PC, we do ask that you type your questions in. Some of you choose to email your questions over to me, and that's fantastic as well. I will be keeping an eye out for that too. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to Doug and let him start off this presentation.
Well, thank you, Cheryl, and hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Doug Bliss, and in a moment, I'll hand it off to Ewell, who will be walking us through the demo. Many of you are already familiar with Web Connect, also known as P21 Connect. For those of you new to Web Connect, we've been working in Profit 21 related development for more than a decade. All Web Connect applications are built specifically for P21, and they run real time with your P21 data. Web Connect is a suite of applications. It's specifically designed to integrate with and extend P21, and it includes a comprehensive set of integrated features that span the areas of CRM, business intelligence, ordering, quoting, vendor-managed inventory, customer portals, and much more. Our iOS and Android native apps offer companies an efficient method to support field service or vendor-managed inventory scenarios. Also include features such as barcode scanning and an offline sync later option for limited internet access environments. If you'd like to evaluate Web Connect, you can contact us to set up a free trial for any Web Connect application in your environment using your P21 data. It's a great way to evaluate Web Connect applications at your leisure with your meaningful data in view, and you can also contact us to schedule a guided tour. If you'd like to watch videos of past demos and webinars, you can visit our YouTube channel, and you can also find more information available at our blog. So our webinar topic today is the conversations and lessons you wish your teams remembered. Our focus will be on our latest application called Keen. Keen provides a platform for bringing data and people together and enabling true collaboration while reducing the need for less efficient communication methods such as meetings and emails. With Keen, teams can create, discuss, and complete work faster from any device with the relevant P21 and other corporate data in focus. Keen evolved out of our work in Web Connect, but you don't necessarily need to run Web Connect to use Keen. Keen can work with most CRM applications you may already have in place, whether they are third-party or homegrown. Today's demo will be a preview of Keen, which will be officially launched as a part of our upcoming P21 User Group Connect conference. So why Keen? Well, communication and collaboration can occur in a variety of different channels or platforms, and they're almost never fully integrated or in sync. This can create productivity gaps that can result in a variety of pain and common complaints such as too many emails and meetings, indecisiveness where the group is having trouble agreeing on a direction, progress that is moving too slow or that has become stagnant, team members or leaders that desire greater visibility into what the team's working on and roadblocks and revelations that might be occurring, and communication that is often disjointed or that may lack immediate data context. The point is that communication and collaboration are already taking place each day in every organization, and the goal should be to harness and redirect those efforts and embed them as a single source of truth. A single source of truth ensures that everyone in an organization is basing business decisions or on data communications that they can trust to be accurate and current. Without a single source of truth, things may look a little bit more like this slide, resulting in some of these messages like, I can't find the email, I accidentally updated the old file, I wasn't copied, can you send me a copy of the email so I can get up to speed? Let's schedule another meeting to get on the same page again. You get the point. And Keen helps facilitate a single source of truth with preserved interactions between people and an ongoing record of work that becomes more valuable over time for both current and new team members. So what is Keen? Insights or potential insights can occur by anyone, anywhere in the organization. So capturing those insights and generating integrated conversations can develop into shared interests of many types. Repeating this over time can culminate in shared habits and a knowledge base of decision outcomes and lessons learned. And account planning is just one example of this. So rather than just checking the box saying we created an account plan only to have it become stagnant as it gets starved of current data and conversations, why not make it a living document that turns an account team into more of an account community and let anyone in the organization participate, not just sales team members. So whether it's an account plan, a task list, a marketing campaign, opportunity pipeline review, or sales call strategy, pick a process or workflow or project, perhaps one that you've attempted before and one that is simple and very specific, and give Keen a try. So that was a quick overview of Keen, and now I'm going to hand it off to Ewell for the preview demo. So Ewell, it's all yours.
Thanks, Doug. Wait to get the screen tapped over. All right. Hi, my name is Ewell Gitahun. I'm a partner here at Web Connect, and I'm going to be going through a demo of Keen. Right now, we're seeing a customer detail page inside of Web Connect. I'm going to impersonate a sales rep called James and jump into some Keen documents and interest pages related to Action Industries. I have a Keen button here, which will load me all of the different interest pages that James has either set up or been subscribed to or assigned by his sales manager. So you'll see lots of different options from account plans to daily reports to specific supplier focuses. We can quickly identify when they've been updated, who created them, who owns them, etc. We mentioned an account plan earlier, so let's jump into this interest page for an Action Industry supply account plan. Once we load the interest page, let's kind of talk at a high level what an interest page is. An interest page it's a workspace that brings all of your relevant collaborators together to look at the same data, look at the same notes, and have a workspace to upload all of the information that they need. It provides a place that you know whenever you have a question about a topic, for example, Action's account plan, this is where you need to go. We really get you out of the mindset of emailing everybody and asking, what's going on with this? What's happening with that? This is the page that should be the answer. And you should send this link to that relevant user to say, if you need an update or a status on this, go read what's going on the interest page related to it. At the top here, James has an executive summary of the actions and goals of this interest page. He can come in here, color code, highlight, bold. It's an open form text editor that saves as he's writing. So we can see that he has some primary goals related to revenue and a specific supplier. We can see some recent meeting notes. So generally speaking, James would sit down with his sales manager in a one-on-one, figure out how he's doing with this specific account plan, set up goals for the next meeting to accomplish. So it seems like James reported that he found a good opportunity for a joint sales call, and he has some things that he needs to accomplish before he got back. So he has accomplished things here. He can add additional information, had meeting, etc. And all of this saves and updates for anybody looking at the interest page. So these open editors are great tools to summarize what's going on with this page, to provide information and allow people who have permissions to edit and change them. As we head down further into the page, we can see attachments. And we all have been in the corporate world of, do I have the right attachment? Is it updated? Do I have the right data? And we spend so much time sending emails back and forth asking for that information. So what we see here, we know the relevant information, when it was updated, and all of that. It saves along with the interest page and is there in perpetuity, which provides a lot of great context. If you come back a year from now, those files are there and they're associated and you'll know the right information. The next big area that Keen really tries to tackle is the concept of data being where the analysis is happening. When you land on a Keen interest page, you don't need to go to 5 other systems to figure out the information you need to make decisions. This is where the real value comes in, because your workspace includes all the tools that you need to really act and make decisions. Because we've all been in the situation where you spend the first 30, 40 minutes validating that your information is right and current. The great thing about Keen, it is pulling directly from Profit 21, and the minute you load the page, it is as accurate as the Profit 21 system. As we can see here, we're looking at the year-over-year performance for Action, and now we understand why James had color-coded that gold green. Action Industries is up a significant dollar amount, and so that's a great kudos to James. As we scroll further down, we'll see other types of data implementations. We have a really interesting grid that allows us to look specifically at Action Industries and interact with the data. Now we're looking at Grove Medical and their supplier performance from an Action Industry perspective. We can see again that James is doing pretty darn well from a Grove Medical perspective, and we can see why he has that gold color-coded green. There is some opportunity for improvement because he's lost some sales on certain items. But the main thing that we need to remember is this information is consistently going to be updated. So when it becomes 2021, this information is going to reflect 2021 data. And we have a living document with real data pulling from Profit 21 to answer the questions that this interest page is really trying to tackle. The next big improvement that we try to provide is a place to have conversations and a place to have notes. This provides the value of you can actually send quick chats, and these chats are contained with this interest page and are immortalized. I like to think, and I see that Doug sent a little note to distract me from our presentation now. I like to think of these interest pages as a place where we can immortalize things. And so the conversation that happens in the hallways and the water coolers can now happen here. And so I like to think of when you bring in a new sales rep, sending them to different interest pages to review and learn and understand. And we can capture it because there's so many things that are said, but not necessarily written down. The great thing about these conversations is the messages will send to the Keen native app where it will be able to pull that information and you will be push note alertified about the note that was sent, which is a great useful thing so that as you're walking around, you know what's going on, you know if there was an interesting thing that's changed, and you can kind of navigate through Keen. The last area we have, or the second to last area we have, is emails. Now, at the end of the day, I know we talked about the fact that we need to get out of emails. We need to put everything into Keen, but there's certain things that it's just really hard to avoid. When there's outside suppliers or information that you need to forward in, the email viewer archiver that we have is a great tool. So WebConnect can integrate with Exchange or any of the mail servers that you have so that you're able to connect your Profit 21 data of customers and contacts with WebConnect. And so you can bring in the emails and view them. So we can see here that we're looking at Action Industry specific emails. James had mentioned up here at the top that he had reached out to one of the buyers at Action Industries. So we can see down here the email where he sent the meeting request. The great thing about this is that we can add notes that give specific context to these emails. So if we look here, it seems like the reason that James reached out was because he saw a turnover in the buyer on LinkedIn and he was thought there would be more of an opportunity. This is useful because we really can capture the value of the email right inside of the system. The other things you can do is actually upload the email as an attachment, which can be another way to provide that information. So at the end of the day, email is probably not going away anytime soon, but it can be a way to provide those things that are external to your systems right in front of the user. One of the big things, though, that we always recommend with people using Keen is that whenever you get an email question about this specific interest, we say send them the Keen link, because at the end of the day, we need to train our users to, if you want to answer a question about this specific interest, a page is where you need to get it. And that's where we should put our data. At the bottom here, we have a in-browser spreadsheet. This is an Excel document that's embedded right into the page. It works very similarly to Excel, that you can name your sheets, you can add whatever information that you need, be able to format and do formulas, and it gives your users the ability to do all those different things where in Excel, they're stuck on users' hard drives, hidden away. Now they're embedded right into that Keen sheet, and they know that they're viewing the right information. This can be really useful, especially when you have things like forecasting or information that you need to share and collaborate on. Embedding it right into an interest page is the best way to do that. So what I've shown you is a few ideas of the different types of controls and interests that we might be able to build. As I'm looking at the data and I'm looking at some of the things that James is focused on with Action Industries, I'm interested to know, how is Grove Medical doing across his entire account base? This is where insights can become a really useful tool. So I'm going to jump over here to the insights table. Insights, I like to consider it as the kind of home improvement store for data and domain knowledge within your organization. And when I say home improvement, I mean there are things that are things you can pick up right off the shelf, meaning they're pre-packaged. So there are reports that you can just select and filter by tags to figure out exactly what you need. You can decide how you want to view it, and you can just hit run. So what that gives you is a report. It's right there. And this is perfect for your users who might not be as technically capable or are just really wanting to quickly answer a question. But on the other side, there are times where you have more app users who want to build their own report and jump right into the data and figure out exactly what they need. Since we're wanting to analyze the Grove Medical sales, let's go ahead and build our own report. So I'm going to jump into Insights. Insights kind of breaks down, it's very similar to running a pivot table in Excel, meaning you just drag and drop the metrics or the rows and columns that you're really wanting to view. So I want to see how he's doing with customers, sales dollars, and I want to look at year to date versus last year to date, and I want to filter for a specific supplier. So I'm going to look at Grove Medical. Before I run this report, I want to also push out that the source of data that I'm pulling from is sales, but I could be pulling from orders, opportunities, invoices, whatever it might be. Those sources are tailorable by you and your IT organization also. I could create any calculated columns if I need them. So I can, if I need to do something like that, I can generate them right here. But I'm going to go ahead and run this report. So this data is automatically filtered for James, and I see something very interesting here. He's doing very well at Action Industries. He's up $2.4 million like we saw on his interest page. But as we look further into his account base, there's a lot of opportunity that he's missing. AJ Heating and Cooling is down a significant dollar amount, and overall, he's down a significant dollar amount. So if I'm the sales manager, I probably want him to focus much more broadly on this concept, because he seems to be spending a lot more of his time with Action Industries than he is across his account base. So what I can do from here is I can create an interest page specifically dedicated to this concept. So I can name it whatever I need. I can decide how this data is shown. I can choose, let's say, a listing. I can specifically add James as a participant. If I needed to link any specific data sources I could. I'm going to leave this wide open because I want this to be across his account base. And I can add whatever controls I think might be necessary for this interest. Since I'm doing a demo for the sake of brevity, I've created an interest page already for this concept, guys. So this is the supplier focus interest page for James. He has, again, a high level objective that his sales manager has set for him. James, you need to focus on growth medical across your account base. We need to get a lot more focus and join Sales Call Vendor. You can see his admin or his sales manager has sent him a note to make sure that he keeps this interest page up to date, and he's holding him accountable to it, because you would imagine this is part of his sit-down conversation with James on a regular basis. And he gave him a nice grid to look at that information that shows him what he's looking at, and so that James and his sales manager can really compare and make sure that they're talking apples to apples. James has a lot of different things he can do within this grid. He can jump into customer details using our different context menus. That will take him to the detail information. He can make sales calls if he needs to, which allows him to integrate and say, hey, this is what I've done, and provide updates there. Again, he can use attachments to upload information. So we've kind of looked at two aspects of James's day-to-day actions. We've looked at him looking at from a sales perspective and account perspective, and now we've looked at from a sales manager really trying to drive a specific focus. Again, at the end of the day, what we're really trying to do is pull the conversation out from all of its different silos and place it in a place where you have the data, the objectives, and the conversation in a single place to make action. So that's one of the key points and focuses of Keen. I'm going to jump into one more interest page that I created. My partners say that I am sucking up to Cheryl by building out this specific interest page, but I thought it was an interesting way to look at something that has less to do with a specific account or specific sales rep, and something to do with just capturing domain knowledge. We've all been to conferences, and at the end of them, there never seems to be a place where you can just go review what we've learned. We spent the money to get there. We know that lots of people have covered information, but when we really talk about what are the action items that came from that, what did we learn? If I wanted to review the last 3 years of notes from that specific conference, where would I do that? And so I created an example for the B21 User Group Conference 2020, right? The concept is that we want to make sure we capture all of the user group conference. We want to know if we have conversations, and we want to make sure that we capture the action items that came from that. So we can see here that Steve found a great presentation, and Mary reminded him to make sure to set an action item from it. Upload any attachments that we've gathered from the conference, any contacts, and all of that different information. So it provides, again, a workspace where we've captured the data, a place where the conversation is happening, and a place that 5 years from now, I can send my new sales rep or my new person working in Profit 21 to go review the last 5 years of conference information and bring up to speed. And this is a great way to capture the value of the different interactions that we're having and all of the things that we've learned within our organization. Because at the end of the day, what should happen is that the interest pages throughout your organization should become kind of the internal Wikipedia or the internal encyclopedia of your business. I'm going to jump over to our feed tab. Our feed tab, what it allows you to do is see who's updated what was the kind of latest conversation, and it basically is your CNN, Facebook timeline of your business. And it helps you get a pulse of what's going on with what. And it allows quick navigation to the details of these interests, and it also allows you to specifically jump into a conversation. So you can see that Steve uploaded it. I can jump right into the conversation and say, hey, thanks for doing that, and send that off. This allows me, when I don't necessarily want to jump right into the conversation or the interest page, it allows me to quickly navigate to the different things. The search is another functionality that provides a lot of value. This allows you to search across all interests and conversations. So I can come in here, put in a random letter, and I can see all of the different interests that I have, the dates that they were created, their specific owners, and the last modified date. This is really useful for being able to navigate, especially if you have a new user. You can give them keywords that they can search, and then they can just go discover. Because a lot of times when you really start using Keen, what you gain is the ability to capture domain knowledge that you really don't have in a guidebook or some kind of sitting thing. This is a place where you can drop in new people and tell them to search. You can also do this along with searches. So I can search all of the different conversations that I have access to, see what they are, and it allows me to see what people are talking about. This is, again, a useful way of diving into the interests and feeds and finding out that information. I'm going to jump back into insights because there's a couple things I hadn't covered that I think will be super valuable. You're also able, while building out insights, to save these insights so that other people can access them. So as we saw here, we saw lots of different insights that people had already created. So if if I have permission, I can build an insight that I think might be interesting. So I might look at sales dollars by sales rep, and I say I want to break it out at a customer level, and I want to pivot it year to date. When I run this report, I might see something that's really interesting, and I want to save it for other people to look at. This allows me to come in here, title the interest, customer, sales rep, year to date versus last year to date. I can tag it however I need. I'm going to select it's going to be with customer, and I can go ahead and hit add insight. This allows me to add it to the drop down, and now it's part of the community and part of the conversation, which is a real value add and a real capture of information. So that is a high-level overview of Keen. We capture business value, conversation, and bring the data into the context of what we're wanting to do and act on. So with that, I will go ahead and pass it over to you.
Well, thank you, Ewell. This was a preview of Keen. Like I said, official launch will be during the conference, but I did want to mention a few items we do have out on the roadmap as well. One of them is expect to see more and more templates introduced, account planning templates, things like marketing campaigns, task management, opportunity pipeline reviews, sales management types of templates. Also the ability of users to create their own templates that other folks inside the organization can use. We'll also be rolling out what we're calling interest maps, but these are similar to the concept of a word cloud or a mind map. So over time, as conversations occur, you'll begin to see reoccurring themes and do some analytics on what's taking place and sort of a stream of consciousness inside the organization. We'll be leveraging the calendar that already resides in Web Connect. That'll be a part of this platform as well. We'll be adding Kanban-style tiles for those of you familiar with that, so effectively task cards that can be updated, dragged and dropped between statuses for those interested in driving some tasks, doing some task management, and also the ability to export interest data. This might be useful for certain outside process or workflow consultants that many distributors use, allowing them to have a nice consolidated review of certain interests taking place inside an organization as a part of their consulting efforts. So